This is Hollywood. Matías Bombal with you. Magnolia Pictures brings us a CNN Films production of director Steve James's visualization of life itself. Film critic Roger Ebert's introspective analysis of his own experience in and out of the movie house that was a best-selling book and the name of his internet blog. Going beyond where the book about Ebert's life finishes, director James's documentary shows us an intimate portrait of the last days of a remarkable man and his wife, and the colorful journey of a singular life dedicated to both sharing a passion about the great window that is the cinema and his ego-driven, Sisyphus-like push to be the most known man in his craft. Sharing, as I do, the same vocation, the screening of this film reflected my own experience in many ways, and many valuable lessons may be learned from Ebert's life work and integrity. Although he started writing whilst newspapers were still king of media delivery in the romantic days of late-night bars and the early morning sound of the giant spinning printing presses, not unlike the environment in the classic film His Girl Friday, he bridged the gap from print to video to electronic communication without any visible sign of effort, eager to find a new way for his voice to be heard, and when he could no longer speak for himself after the loss of his jaw to cancer, for his words to be read on his blog right up to the end of his life. Along with the story of Roger Ebert, we see the story of how information, news, and commentary have changed in the United States in the 50-plus years that Ebert's byline appeared. He's remembered by friends, colleagues, drinking buddies, and great filmmakers like Martin Scorsese and Werner Herzog. In this sequence from life itself, a co-worker and a fellow film critic describe one of Roger's great movie events that really connected with theater audiences.
He would hold what was called cinema interruptus.
On Monday of World Affairs Week, Roger would show a film. Tuesday through Friday, he would conduct a shot-by-shot discussion of the film.
To listen to Roger talk for upwards of 5 hours about In Cold Blood or The Third Man or Vertigo or Citizen Kane, he was enlightening with every new frame. It was a theatrical experience of the highest order.
And anybody who wanted to, at any moment, could yell out, "Stop," to ask a question or make a statement.
Stop! Look at that. Every year we find something absolutely amazing, totally amazing in the films. It's not there, but we find it.
There was a limit to Roger's democratizing of film criticism. A student asked, "Who do you think you are that you get to have all these opinions? I saw Porky's and I think Porky's great, so why don't I get to talk about it?" And Roger said, "I have two things to say. First, Marshall Field, who owns the Chicago Sun-Times, appointed me film critic. That's who I am. And he said, my other thing is a question. Would you want to listen to you?"
I know deep down both Roger and I likely would rather listen to ourselves, but that showed an example of a bit of the snarkiness that was also a part of Ebert's person. I know from personal experience about Ebert's snarkiness, albeit while he was being extremely professional and I was not. At 22 years of age, I interviewed both Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert while I worked for a Sacramento television station. I had made an unfortunate remark about Roger during a microphone check that I thought only my engineer could hear, yet Roger and Gene heard it as well, to which Roger replied,
"Yes, why didn't you mention that Gene was the baldest man in television?"
If you'd like to see the entire interview, the rest of which is quite good, you can find it at our website, www.mabhollywood.com, on the Vault page under the heading Interviews. Director Steve James has made an excellent documentary that touches profound depths in the most difficult of tasks, that of painting a picture of a known person's public and private life. He does this with exquisite taste and directness. The difficulties of Roger's early alcoholism and positive participation in AA showed a remarkable strength for years, culminating with the joy of Roger's meeting his future wife there, the beginning of a passion for a lady that is a force of kindness and love, Chaz Ebert.
Chaz was probably more life-altering for him than his TV show. She really, really liked him for what he was and not who he was.
She changed his life immeasurably. She changed his personality. Hey, I was 8 months pregnant and Roger grabbed the cab in front of me in New York. It's not that kind of guy now. I think Gene was so happy that Roger found his mate.
He was 50 years old when we got married. He used to tell me, I waited just about all my life to find you, and I'm glad I did, and I'm never going to let you go. I mean...
Steve James has given us such an intimate and close view of Chaz Ebert, you leave the movie thinking you've known her and loved her your whole life, a tribute to both his craft and the remarkable nature of a singular woman and her great love. Love is what's at the core of this movie, and the central passion of Roger Ebert's life was not merely the movies, but his sharing his joy and enthusiasm of them with all of us through his various outlets over the years. The scene that moved me the most occurs late in the movie when filmmaker Ramin Barani shares his memories of Roger's encouragement of him. I don't have a clip to show you, which means you must go see this movie, but in essence it involves the gift of a jigsaw puzzle from Roger that itself had been a gift from actress Laura Dern. The puzzle had belonged to Marilyn Monroe and had been given to her by Alfred Hitchcock. As Roger nears the end of his life, he gives this treasure to Ramin Barani, which he naturally refuses, and Roger will not take no for an answer, telling him, "You're going to accept this gift because you're going to have to give it to somebody else who deserves it." In that one profound line, Roger shows us all his deep understanding of passion placed in the right hands and encouraged, and knowing when the time comes to bestow it on others worthy to keep the dream alive. A great lesson in humanity that, and a noble moment indeed, in life and in this movie. This is simply one of the best documentary portraits I've seen, and I can't but help make parallels in my mind that Steve James took on a task not unlike those facing the reporter trying to assemble the pieces for the story of Charles Foster Kane. James cleverly uses text graphics over the images of classic films at times, where we actually read Roger Ebert's words on screen as we see the clip underneath, as well as using a device which is growing in popularity among movie makers, that of what looks like an instant text message appearing on the screen, whilst another image underneath it advances the visual story at the same time. For the passages read from the book Life Itself, actor Stephen Stanton steps in voice only, sounding very much like Ebert himself. This is a must-see for anyone interested in the study of popularity, charisma, and humanity, and in the complexity of an individual with a public and private personae. Roger Ebert's encouragement to so many and impact on popular culture is beyond measure, and the Valley of the Dolls. Even I was helped personally with a valuable lesson and encouragement from him. Don't miss this fascinating and compelling story that will leave you thinking about how, for many years, one man, sometimes with Gene Siskel, helped us all see movies in an enriched way.
Thanks, Matthias.
Oh, no. Thank you, Roger Ebert. This is your pal, Matías Bombal, bidding you a fond farewell.